In this footage, you can see how, outside of a building, the security camera captures some white figures starting to run until the last two jump the fence and stay still on the ground. The story you are about to see is a dramatized animated version of this found footage. I am currently the head of one of the departments of the company where I work. I wouldn't say that I dislike my job because, in fact, I enjoy it, and I also get good pay. The problem is that the burden of responsibility that comes with it has been stressing me out too much lately. The situation continued until one day, I finally felt terrible.
Are you okay, boss? My back is killing me. I can't even sleep at night. Oh, and what have you done about it? I went to the doctor, but the medicine doesn't really help me much. Have you gone to a massage parlor? It always works for me when I'm like that. It's very relaxing.
That same afternoon, I decided to heed Carl's advice and looked for a massage parlor near my home. Since I found a good option, I made an appointment for that same weekend. From that moment on, I continued going almost every week to that place since my subordinate was right. It was relaxing, it helped me with the pain, and it also made me feel better. But because of what happened last time, I'm not sure I want to go back to that massage parlor. It was a Saturday night. I usually used that day to go so I could sleep perfectly and enjoy Sunday as much as I could. Excited, I left my house, got in the car, and headed to the massage parlor. Once there, I approached the receptionist.
Hello, Karen. How are you today?
Hi, Mr. Davis. We've been waiting for you.
Karen indicated to me which room I would be in this time, and then I walked over to it. The masseuse was already there when I knocked on the door. Everything went normally. The massage relaxed me, cleared my mind, and I had even almost managed to fall asleep. When it was over, I thanked the woman, then Karen, and finally left the massage parlor. A little sleepy, I walked to my car when I started to hear some strange noises. The massage parlor was surrounded by fences, on the other side of which was grass and trees. I wasn't sure what the sounds I was hearing were, but it seemed like various things were running through the grass. Without thinking much, I stopped and stared at the forest.
Huh?
Suddenly, I started to see some white things. Whatever that was, it lay motionless on the floor. Meanwhile, I stayed where I was. Of course, the situation had given me goosebumps. I even started to wonder if I was dreaming, but unfortunately, I wasn't. The fear had left me more awake than I could imagine in just a few seconds. Suddenly, those things started moving. I really didn't want to get close to them for fear of possible danger, but soon, I started hearing some sounds that made me change my mind. At first, I thought they were animal cries, but after listening to them for a few seconds, I realized that they seemed to be the laughter of children. What were some children doing running through the woods at night? I had no idea, but I didn't think about it for a long time either as I approached them.
Hello?
Once I got close enough to them, they stopped laughing and even moving.
Are you okay, kids?
Almost instantly, they both took off the sheets that were covering them, and I could finally see them, which shocked me. They were a boy and a girl. Both were very pale, thin, and dirty. Their clothes looked old and worn, but despite everything, they had big smiles on their face, as if they were very happy.
Children, did something happen to you? Why are you here? Do you feel all right?
The children stared at me for several seconds. That's when I started to get a bad feeling.
We're having fun.
It seems so, but it's not a very good idea for you to be here at this hour, is it? Your families are going to worry, kids.
Why do you care?
It felt silent upon hearing the girl's response. She was still smiling, as was the boy.
Well, You might get hurt running around, or you might even meet a bad person. It's normal to be worried about children in this situation.
Is it?
I was not understanding what was making them laugh so much. In fact, they were beginning to look creepy to me, especially their big smiles.
Do you feel all right?
Old man, why don't you go away and leave us alone?
Huh? Look, kids, I don't want to upset you, but to be honest, you guys look a lot paler and thinner than would be normal. Are you sure you feel okay? Don't you need any help?
The girl and boy stopped smiling and looked at each other after hearing me. When they saw me again, smiles appeared on their faces once more.
Give us food.
We want food.
Huh? I don't have any food right now, but... Give us food.
I stayed silent for a moment. I really wanted to help those two children, but they didn't seem to understand. They were acting very strange.
What if... how about we go inside the massage parlor? I can find you help there. I can make a call and, well, you know.
The smile on both children's faces faded. They stared at me, eyes wide, and didn't respond in any way.
Well, let's go then.
Without waiting any longer, I grabbed the girl's hand and together we walked towards the building. Once there, hopefully Karen would agree to take care of the situation and I could leave the place and forget about the unsettling moment.
I don't want to.
Huh? What did you say, girl?
I don't want to go.
Huh?
Before I could finish my question, the girl put her face close to my arm and opened her mouth. I soon felt intense pain.
Ouch!
I quickly backed away. She had bitten me.
What the?
Suddenly, the girl ran to where the boy was. They covered themselves with the sheets that were on the floor. Then they both jumped the fence, and little by little, they got lost in the forest. Instead of stopping them, I quickly walked to my car and drove away. I wasn't sure what happened, but I was terrified. Since then, I haven't been back to that massage parlor. I haven't even been able to forget about the children because when I look at my arm, there are still some bruises where the girl bit me. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. If so, please leave a like. And also, a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you want to support this channel and make this channel reach the 1 million mark, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind later. Enjoy.
I was in college when, for some extra income, I took a job at a massage parlor. My roommate, Kathy, hooked me up with the services, and we both used to do massage therapies there. Our work times were different, though. Kathy worked in the afternoons, and I in the evenings. The parlor used to close around 8, so I was usually home before it was too late. The job paid well and fit right in with my study schedule. It was a Friday afternoon, and I had to study for an upcoming exam, so I called the massage parlor owner to let him know that I wouldn't be able to work that day. Kathy took my shift for some extra cash and left for work. The day went by just like that. When I was finally done, I noticed the time on the clock. It was 8. I was waiting for Kathy to come back so we could go out for dinner. 15 minutes later, Kathy came home. I was about to ask her where she would like to go for dinner, but her behavior surprised me. She slammed the door hard and cursed someone in anger.
Ah, bloody creep. Hey, what happened? Don't even ask. I have never felt so humiliated in my entire life. Calm down. Sit here and tell me. What's the matter?
She drank water and then sat beside me on the couch. Her face looked infuriated with hatred and anger, and I could tell something very serious had happened.
Today, I got a client named Buck. I've never seen someone as disgusting as him. He said he'd like to get a massage without covering himself with a sheet or a towel. Oh, what a creep. Well, things didn't end there. The entire time he kept laughing and making weird sounds, which were very uncomfortable. And finally, when I was done, he made me put on his shoes for him. God, it was awful.
Kathy went on cursing and ranting about this creepy client. We canceled our plan for dinner and stayed home that night. The next day, after my afternoon classes, I returned home to get freshened up and went to the massage parlor to do my usual hours. As soon as I entered the parlor and checked with the receptionist about the clients, she told me a man named Buck had come for a second session. I immediately realized that this Buck was that creepy client Kathy had talked about. I could have said no, but then I already missed one day and I needed the money, so I decided to see him. I went inside the massage cabin, lit some candles for a therapeutic atmosphere, and waited for the man to enter. After just 5 seconds of waiting, a tall man, nearly 7 feet tall, with a thick unibrow and a sharp, pointy nose, entered the room wearing a towel. He was extremely hairy, just like Kathy explained. His nostrils were huge, and I could see his filthy nose hair poking out from them. His arms and legs were covered in thick, black, bushy hair. His chest and stomach were like a rainforest where groups of mosquitoes could easily get lost. Not just that, the man had a striking body odor. His teeth were all rotten and yellow, and when he smiled ear to ear, the red flags in my head started going off.
Aren't you gonna tell me to lie down?
Of course, the very first sentence that came out of his mouth sounded creepy. I behaved as professionally as I could.
Sure, lie down.
The man laid on the bed, on his back, and God, I imagined how filthy it would be to touch this guy. He was so hairy, and for the first time, I regretted not having gloves during a massage session. I grabbed the oil and started pouring it on his back. That's when he started to get even more creepy.
I like it wet, you know. So you're gonna need to pour a lot of oil on me.
I see.
What is your name?
I'm Jennifer.
For safety and personal reasons, Kathy and I both asked the owner to let us use fake names. The man went on talking, even though I tried to act disinterested.
Is it okay if I call you Jenny?
Yeah, whatever.
You don't look very happy in this job, huh?
I wanted to tell him that it wasn't the job, but him that made it uncomfortable. But he was the one paying at the end, so I smiled awkwardly and said,
No, it's fine.
If you ask me, then you are perfect for this job. Your hands have magic. Tell me, Jenny, do you attend to your client personally? Maybe at their home? I can pay you $100.
Sorry, but I don't see clients outside the massage parlor.
Seems like I will have to come here then for your services.
Without paying further attention to his proposal, I kept quiet. That's when he started making bizarre demands. He suddenly rolled aside, now facing up, staring dead into my eyes, and said,
I'm done on the back. Why don't you pay some attention to my chest now, Jenny?
His chest was the hairiest part of his body. He didn't ask anything explicit, so reluctantly I agreed and started putting oil on his chest. As I went to rub the oil, he suddenly gripped my hand tightly, so tight that it almost gave me bruises, and said,
I can go to your place if you don't want to come in mine, Jenny. Think about it. $100 for just one session. Don't you need money?
I still kept my calm and replied in a firm voice.
Sir, you need to let go of my hand. A no is a no, so if you want this session to continue, then you better just be quiet or I'll be forced to report you to the owner.
You are a strong-willed woman.
Saying this, he let go of my hand and then kept quiet for the rest of the session. Once I was done, he got up and sat on the bench, watching me. Feeling cringed, I said,
Well, you need to pay at the counter, sir. My job is done here.
No, it's not.
Excuse me?
You still have to help me put on my shoes.
What? I'm sorry, but I don't do anything like that.
But another girl here did.
Not me. It's my choice. Please pay at the counter and leave.
He began to scream at me.
You are my slave. I am paying you, you witch. So you better do exactly what I ask you to do. Tie my shoes now.
This is where I lost it. I slapped the man hard on the cheek. I then screamed louder than him.
Look, you freak! I'm not your slave! Go home to your mother and ask her to fulfill all your creepy desires. Either you pay and leave, or I'll make sure you rot in jail for your psycho behavior.
The man quickly stood up, wrapped his towel around his waist, and started walking to the door to leave. As he opened the door, he turned back to look at me for one last time and said,
My offer's still open. I'll leave my address on the receipt, and the payment will be double if you and your roommate both come to massage me.
I could feel my legs freeze as he left, saying this. The fact that he knew so much about me and Kathy scared the hell out of me. After returning home, I told Kathy everything, and we both decided to leave the massage parlor and the apartment for our safety. Once we moved out, we never came in contact with that hairy freak again. I pray he burns in hell.
This story is a traumatization based on footage provided by a security guard at a massage parlor in Argentina, who detected how the massage tables were mysteriously moving on their own. In this story, we will see what the guard actually saw, but the camera could not show us.
Being a night security guard is as boring a job as people say it is. Or so I thought. The day that made me change my mind looked like a normal day. Nothing special. It was very strange for a massage parlor to have night shifts, but the bosses were obsessed with being open as long as possible.
Hey, Lucas.
Hey Laura, you're leaving already?
Yeah, I need to take a shower and eat immediately. I'm very tired.
I know, right? Me too, but my shift just started.
Sucks to be you. I wouldn't want to spend the night cooped up here, surrounded by all these ghosts.
Ghosts?
I looked at her, laughing suspiciously.
Oh, come on. You're telling me you haven't heard anything?
Nobody talks to the security guard.
Oh my god, when you're bored at night, keep an eye on the cameras in the garden.
The ones that are loose?
Yeah, those ones. A lot of people say they're possessed.
Oh, you're playing with me.
Nuh-uh. Every time we pass by, we feel something uncomfortable, like someone's there.
I think it's a case of collective paranoia.
Paranoia or not, some even saw those beds move in impossible ways. You'll see, man, there's something weird going on.
If you say so.
We spent some more time talking until Laura went home. I didn't really believe her story about the paranormal beds, although I admit I was a little curious as to what all the fuss was about among the workers. What ghost could inhabit a massage parlor? The very idea was funny to me. I waited till almost everyone had left and began to make my nightly rounds. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. As soon as night fell, the place became very quiet, even though there were a few people working. In itself, the place was pretty cramped, and the loneliness only made it worse. It made perfect sense that the employees thought the place was haunted. I walked around distractedly, watching every part of the place. From one second to the next, a strange sensation began to run through my body. I started to feel very cold and I got goosebumps. My lungs started to feel clogged and it was hard to breathe. I will never be able to explain that feeling. It was as if I was in enormous danger, as if the atmosphere had become cloudy. I didn't let my unjustified fear overcome me. There was nothing there, so I decided to keep walking, determined to reach the other side of the room. Reaching the end of the path, my legs were getting heavier and heavier. All my joints ached, and before I knew it, I was crying. I reached the other side of the room and touched the wall as proof that I had overcome my challenge. It was only when I turned around that I confirmed what I feared. This was not only a quiet, uninhabited, and even calm place. It was also the place Laura had told me about. The place where strange events happened and the stretchers moved by themselves. Still with tears in my eyes, I quickly left the place and immediately felt better. I finished turning around and went back to the camera room, still in shock at what had happened. Ever since I got back, Part of me knew that I had experienced something out of the ordinary in that place. But at the same time, I knew that I hadn't seen anything. That it had probably all been the work of my imagination. I became obsessed with watching the cameras all night, waiting for something strange to happen. I was beginning to think that nothing was going to happen until I saw how. Just as Laura had said, the beds moved by themselves. I got my spirits up and ran to where the stretchers were. This time, something had changed. The oppressive atmosphere that had drowned me before was gone. I walked calmly around the place and began to touch the stretchers. The wheels were fine. There was no wind or anything else that could cause movement.
How the hell did you move so much? Enough paranoia.
I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, knowing that I was now reassured that my fears were all unjustified. My peace was shattered when I felt something touch my hand. I opened my eyes and looked down at the bed. A white, veiny hand was resting on top of mine. The suffocating atmosphere I felt before had returned, as if waiting for me to make this discovery. I swallowed saliva and raised my head, sweating, ready to meet whatever it was I was going to find. But when I raised my head, there was nothing. I looked down again at the gurney, and it was empty.
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. There was something here. What do you want?
The monster didn't answer me. He just took a few steps forward and moved the stretcher from side to side, as he did in the chambers, with the difference that this time, I could see him. Although his hand had been on the stretcher, this being had his small and twisted eyes fixed on my face. Meanwhile, the air felt thicker and thicker, as whatever was in front of me slowly approached me. I remembered how I criticized in all the horror movies the characters who died for not escaping, and for the first time, I understood them. I felt as if hypnotized by that terrifying presence that, despite having a smile from ear to ear, was trembling with nervous anticipation of catching me. I gathered all my strength and managed to stand up. I ran out in desperation at the sight of a being that didn't seem to mind me leaving. When I reached the security cameras, the stretchers moved from one side to the other with enormous violence. It was as if he was provoking me, playing with me. I rewound the filming time to see my attacker again, but I only saw myself crying on the floor and talking to nothing. The next day, I quit. I never told this story to anyone. I didn't have any proof so they wouldn't think I was crazy. If I can give you one lesson I took away from this, is that there is no such thing as unjustified fear. If you feel something strange, trust your instincts, and most importantly, never try to provoke the unknown.